Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Kotlin Kolkata. I am Inril, the organizer of Kotlin Kolkata, and along with me, Niharika is with me, who is going to present a very nice topic, an expected one. Make your app production ready for you all today. And Atri, the organizer and the event organizer of Kotlin Kolkata, is also with me. So today's agenda will be very nice as if you ask me because we generally develop many apps, but the coding structure, the design are all old style or a single page one, which is not recommended. The app should be like a company does, means any startup or any MNC does, means it should have a structure, a proper hierarchy, proper modules. So these kind of things will be explained by Niharika. She is working at 1MG and a great contributor of the famous Arogya Setu app. So yeah, Niharika, please take on the honor.
Uh, hi Indranil. Thank you and thank you Kotlin Kolkata and Atri for having me today here. So I will be presenting my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Indranil, can you see my screen now? Okay. So yeah. So as our agenda is some of the things as Indranil said, these are true. As we know, uh, creating an application is something which I would say that is quite easy, or bringing an idea uh, and making it different from others. That takes some efforts for sure. But whenever we develop some application, it's like raising a child, I can say. If you are giving them a proper care, if their early age, everything is done with all the values and all the things required, you will be making a great application. And every time whenever we start any application, or whenever we create any software, I can say, we never think of like we are just creating for some days or some months. It's like we want to create some we are bringing some ideas to solve a problem in the society, right? And every one of us are working in a company, or they are making their own apps. So basically you are trying to resolve a problem which is already there, and you are following some approaches and solution towards that. But creating an application, as I said, is something which is easier. But how to maintain it, how to exactly make an application for a billion of users, as you will be having a lot of devices, you will be having I would say, if I talk about the Android, you are having many API levels, you have to manage all these kind of stuff. So that is something, a responsibility, and that is something a good developer should know how to maintain, and how to architect any application for those billion users. Our topic of agenda is, so we will be covering, as you can see, many topics right now. But I would say these all are in itself a topic of discussion, or a topic of talk. But I will try to cover those in just this talk only, with some few concepts that and basic concepts, which with that you may get a clear vision around it. So we'll be covering how should we maintain, or how should we architect our application, so that these can be used in future. Everyone can even if some of the developers, after some time, if someone comes up and see your application or see your code, that would be easy to understand for them as well. Then how to process and how to prepare your application for those billion of users, and how to execute that plan, we'll discuss that as well. Error handling, as error handling is something, let's say if you have some problem in while doing a payment for your application, right, and you are not getting some a message from the application itself that why your payment failed, you will be, it will be like a shock for you, right? So error handling is something one should be doing with proper care and proper message, and that we should be done elegantly. Then some of the mistakes, it for everyone there are some experiences. I would be sharing my experiences with what mistakes um, developers do, and they should avoid those. Now whenever you're working for any application, every time application is you are developing, there will be some a team. You will be having product managers, QA, and even, you know, in your team, you some is developing one feature, one is developing one feature and other is developing other. So there is always a team, and you have to as with software, as many as there are more developers out there, there's a chaos always, right? So you have to balance that and how can we work in a team and balance all these stuff. Then some of the best practices which I would definitely see that if someone is doing that, then you are already a pro in developing an application or developing a software. Now, about myself, I'm a Google developer expert and senior Android engineer at 1MG, and you can find me as with the name the Droid Lady. And I'm also the a contributor for India, Government of India's contact tracing app Arogya Setu. So, without wasting time, so as we discussed, why we need an architecture and maintenance for any application, right? Now, don't consider yourself as an Android developer, iOS developer, even iOS or Android engineers or web engineers, I would say. Consider yourself as a software engineer. Never limit yourself to any technology. And architecture is something you must be having this word. You must have heard this word in every in your daily life as well. So whenever you construct a house, whenever you are building a house, a society, a building, you need an architect, right? You need a architect to have a blueprint, so that like if I am making my home, my house, I would be having a room there, then a kitchen, and architect would give you a blueprint for that, that you will there will be a door, then in left side you will be having a kitchen, in right side there is a room or dining room. So these are kind of stuff which an architect does, right? So why do you even need that? If I say so, if you are building an app house, you can just have the material and you can just start building it, right? But we never do it. We take consultations from those people who are already an expert in doing that. So like this way, you are building a software for and solving a problem for billion of users. Now this is not about any just a house or a building. It's about a billion of users which would be using your software app or application which you are creating. So you need a proper plan. You need you will be having, you will be you need how what all things, what all risks, what all implementations, or what how should a system should they will be there to and in a organized way. So you need some architecture around it, right? But as I have many times whenever we discuss or whenever we are in a team, uh, when I started, or some people have some excuses around it that we don't need an architecture, right? We will have just an idea and we can just start building around it. Maybe I'm the only one who is developing the application. I know everything, where all the things are placed, or even I know what is the idea, I know what is the future, I know what exactly, even if I talk about any button click, right? We know that this is doing this thing. So if I am the only one, maybe you can have these kind of excuses, right? And another is we don't have enough time for an architecture, like as you can see from this. Maybe as people, in early stages, we see that maybe we don't have enough time. We just start the making the software, and just we will be as discussing something or having a plan. That would take time. That would require some efforts from you, like researching for the risk and the implementation strategies, right? But people are like, we don't have enough time, and we will be just starting those implementations, right? But as I told you, as we were talking about this real life examples, right? Why were you considering any architect for your house? You were considering him for a proper guidance, for a proper blueprint for your house, right? Now if I am making a software and I don't even know, just started building it, but I don't know what will be the future plans, how will I be proceeding, what all exactly the things which I need to involve, which I need to add in my early stages, right? Maybe they are some basic common features which I need to add, and I can add advanced features after that, right? But you don't know, you are just building it. So that is something where architecture comes up. In architecture, you have a proper plan for something. If I talk about the software architecture, so basically this plan includes all the decisions you are which are important for your software, which like I told you the risk strategies, and how is your system organized. So you are talking about that thing. I can have you give you another example. Like I talked about this you put all the things in your almirah, right? All your clothing stuff. And now if I now winter comes up, and you are just unpacking all those winter stuff, and you are putting all those in your almirah. But now you haven't organized all those things. You are just putting them. But even now, the next day you have to search for a handkerchief. I can say, if you haven't planned it, how what is the exact location for all those stuff, that would be a mess for you, right? So you need a proper plan in everything. Even if you are going for any trip, if you don't have an itinerary, how are where would you be visiting, what is the time, you may be lost, or you may waste some time there. So a proper plan about all the decisions you need to do something, whether you are doing that professionally or personal, or for your personal stuff, an architectural plan is always needed. So you have to consider this aspect whenever you are building any software or your house. So our architecture should be there. Then as some of that why reasons have already been discussed, but I would summarize those. As I told you, the basis of communication. Now everything is documented, everything is organized. So let's say someday your manager comes up, or a person who is non-tech, you are building a software, right? And a person who is non-tech comes up and say, I what is this button doing, why are you having this button here? So how will you explain him? You have to explain. You won't be able to explain each and every person, right? They can have their own doubts, and they want that clarification around it, right? But if you already have a proper document or structure around it, then you can just hand over that to them, and they can have a proper vision around it, right? So that is with an architecture, with a plan, you are able to clarify everything to all the person, whether that person is a tech person or a non-tech person. So it's always a basis of communication. Then other design decisions. As I told you, as you needed a house architect for you. Now if you haven't had the architect in the very first place, you haven't decided all the things you need to have when you are building your house, maybe at some time what happens is you will be consulting, or you will be taking advice from many people around you. Should I have my kitchen here? Should I have the house this room here? Or should I have a drawing room or not? So these kind of decisions would be there, right? And now, as if I compare to software, so even at that time, what is the future, what is the vision of your software? what exactly are you building, and what problem is it solving. If these are already decided, so this will be helpful for all of you, and then then you can build upon it. Then you can think of what exactly, what advanced things you can do with that, right? Then we have the transferability of model. It basically says, you can say it as a reusability. So whenever we are building a software, never think it like that you are just you can just reuse code. You can also reuse the requirements, but those requirements should be properly and well documented somewhere, so that you can take some reference from it. Like if I say that I am working in a healthcare industry, right? And in that, we already had a 1mg application, and then we build a doctor's application, right? Now building something for a healthcare industry, we already knew the risks and the vision involved in the healthcare, right? Now for building any application, and what all restrictions are there, now we already knew that when we started building an application for the doctor's app. Maybe you can't have everything in common, otherwise you must have done in the same application. But now you know all the things, and you can reuse the requirements as well. But as those requirements should be somewhere, right? Now these are the software perspective. And even if we talk about any other field, these applies for everything. Now let's consider our app architecture, as almost many of us are here for talking about this Android applications. And so why why is now we know how is this architecture important. So there are some few points which you need to consider whenever you are architecting your application. And there's a clear and small definition for it. Basically you are managing, you're placing all your classes and how they will be communicating. Many of you may be using architecture on many as like this MVP, MVVM, clean architecture, MVI. There are many architecture. And what an architecture does, every time that just provides you some abstraction, some there will be like less coupling, more cohesion, these kind of stuff is there, right? the, and it is only saying you how all these classes will be communicating, and you are just making them that like if I talk about this MVP, right? In MVP, your view is just for the UI part, the presenter is handling all the business logic, and the model is having those network and the data source, basically the network and data local data classes, right? So all those roles and responsibilities, so these kind of stuff which we are talking about, this all comes under this app architecture, right? You are defining all the roles and responsibilities for your classes and for your project. Now some of few points. Oh yeah, before that, now as I talked about this app architecture, you can see this left side and right side. So you can clearly understand which one of this is more understandable to you. In the left side you can see all the classes. I have just added all the classes like activities, the splash, the model classes, and maybe I am doing this activity, all the things in activity itself. But if I see this right side, in this you can clearly understand that there is some movies folder, and in movies folder I have some about section, then there's some common code, and after that a home section. And in home there may be some fragments or some tabs which are doing this, which are having this popular top rated movies. And even in that you may find more packages or modules like the UI part, the abstractions or the data part. So everything is clearly defined. So now you can see this is like the app architecture which one should have. A kind of, you are defining all the roles and responsibilities of those classes, and now you have segregated all those things just to follow the programming principles and the best practices around there. Now as we were talking about the few things which one should consider, so every app architecture is only about what you should do, not how you should do. Like as we were talking about this architect thing, the house architect, what he does is he's just giving you a blueprint of the house. He won't tell you how are you going to build it, like the bricks or cement you are going to use, right? Now the same way, the only thing which one should consider whenever they are building an application with the app architecture, the best programming practices. So every architecture should depend on the best programming practices, the clean code or solid principles. I think most of you are aware of these, but will be I will be explaining that shortly. But before that, you shouldn't be your architecture shouldn't be dependent on your this Android API classes. Or if I talk about Android specific or any framework, you should any architecture. If I talk about Android, or if I talk about web, or any iOS, so these all have this kind of structure. This kind of roles and responsibilities are always there. They just follow the same principles. Even you can see the how the database, how the memory is working out there. You will find most of the things similar to Android. If you are an Android developer, you will find most of the things similar, but the main basis of any architecture is this clean code and solid principles out there. So for a clean code base, with that, what I understand is it should be modular. Like we had this modules thing, and even if you want to reuse some code, you can just import that module in your application. Then stable. So that is something which I would say you should consider whenever you are building any software. So it shouldn't happen that my code was working in morning and it isn't working in evening, or you introduced some new feature and now it is not working. So it shouldn't happen. The code should be stable in every situation, or it shouldn't be any system dependent, right? Any environment dependent thing shouldn't be there, right? Then scalable. So with scalable, now if you have a proper architecture for your application, your dependencies are less, right? You are working with abstractions, like you are just providing everything from outside, and you're not having the code coupling, more coupling out there. So you can just scale it as whenever a new feature comes up. Now you have less work to do. Otherwise, there would be many changes in many classes. If that kind of code you are right now having, so I would say please refactor that. Please make it for future purposes, or even if someone comes up and see that code or start working on it as a newcomer, they should be able to work it without get even they have if they have the less understanding, they should be able to work on it, right? Then it should be testable. So most of you have heard about this unit test, or you must be having those automated tests. So one should be your code should be testable. If there is some input, there should be an output of some desired conditions you are giving, and now there should be some yes or no thing. It shouldn't be like if I provided some inputs and after some time it is not working, as I told about the stable thing. So it should be testable in all the conditions, and it should work as per required. It shouldn't be like if you haven't handled some condition, or it should fail. So your unit test should always pass if you are writing for any business logic, or if you are writing for any UI. So that should pass. Then maintainable. Your code will be maintainable only enough if you are already having it with I can say like sometimes whenever you switch any company, very simple example. So you are like, whenever you see someone's code, so you are always like, oh no, I have to work on this code. Or maybe someone hasn't followed any architecture, or someone you are not able to understand the things. So one day if a bug comes up, how are you going to change the code. You don't even understand what is written, and if the same happens with your code and someone comes up and see, that is kind of embarrassing moment, right? Your code should be maintainable. Your code, you should always be able to change anytime anything, and you will be always to that should be like working fine with even with the future purposes. And now comes with the solid principles, like the single responsibility principle. The word itself says a method or a class should have a single responsibility. Like if you are defining a method as login, it should do the work of login only. It shouldn't be calculated or calculating anything else or doing any other manipulation. Like I have this example. So you can see, we all are we as an Android developer, our life always revolves around this recycler views. And in adapter class, you must have seen the on bind view holder, right? And with on bind view holder, as the name suggests, it says it is binding the data with in all the views we are having in the view holder, right? Now, if I talk about this code, you can see this. I was having the movie object, then this holder title, the rating, I'm setting the text, right? The binding the data here. Now in binding the genres, I have a string builder where I am building the where I am appending all, where I'm doing another logic, right? But this is not the work of on bind view holder. On bind view holder was for just for binding the data, right? And now we are doing more than one work. So this is kind of something we are breaking here. This is not this is breaking our solid principles, right? It is not having a single responsibility. It has to do another work there. So what we can do is here, yeah, this is a bad code, and what we can do is we can do it in some another class which is just meant for that purpose only. As like you can have utility classes in your code, and utility classes have these kind of helper functions there. So now this is clear, this is clean, this is able to, we are able to understand, and we are able to get all the bindings are here only. Then we have, yeah, this is good code. And then we have open close principle. So with open close principle, it says anything you have here should be open for any extensions, but closed for any modifications. We already have something defined, and I'm just talking about the real life examples here, which we already use every time, but we never see them like these are all already following the solid principles. We talk about the Java examples, class A, class B, but I won't be talking about that. I'm talking about the things which we are already using, and now you can relate the stuff, these principles and the programming practices followed there. So you can see this movies adapter class. This is extending this recycler view adapter. You are giving your own functionality. You are having, you may be having your own create view holder. You will be passing the view holder here. You'll be binding, inflating your own layout. Then in on bind view holder, you will be having some, you will be binding the data. And then in item count, you have the count, right? Now this is something which, so you can see this class you have created. This is open for extensions. You can give your own implementations. You can have or your own implementation, but the work recycler view adapter was doing, you haven't changed that. So here already an open close principle is followed, that says open for extensions and closed for modifications, right? Then we have Liskov substitution principle. So what it says is, whenever you are using any base class and then you have any subclass of it, you should be able to use the subclass in the place of base classes. Like you can see the example here. So we have spinners, right? You must have used spinner. Even if I talk about the last previous example where we had this adapter class, so we created a custom adapter, right? We already have a recycle view adapter, and now we have and the same here with spinners. We have a custom spinners, and we have given our own implementations. We must have changed some of the implementations there. Now I can use this in in the place of spinner, which we already have in Android, right? So now I can substitute my subclasses in place of base classes. So so whenever you are creating, whenever you have some classes there, you should be able to substitute the subclasses with the base classes itself. So if you are doing that, and if that is followed with your implementations, that means you are able to follow and pass this substitution principle. Then we have this interface segregation principle, which says, you can see the example for click listeners and non-click listeners, in which one is just a single tap and another is for a long press, right? And but as you can see, both are like clicks, right? So why can't I have a function like this, interface like this, and both are clicks there, right? One must think like that. But now, if one has to implement this interface, and I just need a single click, so I won't be using that on long click, right? And but every time, as for interface, whenever you are implementing an interface, you will be implementing all the methods. You have to give the definitions for them, right? Otherwise you will be leaving that empty. But if you don't need something, why would be having that? So what it says is, just have only those methods which are specific to that, and segregate them in different in separate interfaces. So this way you are having an interface segregation principle applied here. That's why we have this on click and on long click listener separated from each other. Otherwise they would have been in a simple single one. Then we have this dependency inversion principle. So with dependency inversion, what we in if I talk about in software terms, it says that one should have more abstractions rather than concretions. I know that is quite difficult to understand, so I'll be talking just in simple words. So as you can see, there's a view model class, and I am having these repositories defined here. So I'm telling you my own experience and why I got this problem. So I was writing unit tests for my view model, and now as with unit test, whenever you are doing any unit testing, so you will be providing your own you are just testing one class at a time, what unit test says. And another things are just you have to mock those classes, right? But as whenever I was mocking those classes, so but as I have initialized these inside my view model, so every my I mocked some classes, but whenever it comes here, it was mocking it was initializing the real classes. But during the unit test, I wasn't having the real ones, the real initializations, right? And at that time my test was failing, as it was saying that your repositories and that needs as you must be having some asynchronous calls, and you must be doing some other stuff which requires the Android APIs, right? And maybe not Android APIs, maybe you have some observables or observers out there. So and I never wanted that, right? I was just checking my view model. So now I wanted these to be provided from outside, that so which made that if even if I am if I am having those mocked from my unit test itself, where it doesn't matter from where it is coming. Now as here I was having some tight coupling with the code, I just removed that and I made it like this, which says now from wherever you are providing this, now you have an abstraction. Your class doesn't want to know or doesn't need to know what exactly what all those B classes are doing. So now you have provided those dependencies from outside, right? So these kind of abstractions are always there. Now we have covered the solid principles. Um, yeah. So now, as with any app architecture, if you are having this changeability, that means whenever you need to change something, and you have a proper architecture in your code, what will happen is you'll be able to understand it, you'll be able to change it whenever it comes up. Like if like the when I started with MVP the first time, and at that time I had some problem, I had to know every logic, every UI part, every data source. But when I was doing the MVP to MVVM, I'm just taking a small example. So it was very easy for me to do that, because I know that with presenters I am already doing business logic, so I just need to have that kind of stuff with view models itself, right? So this improves your changeability. Even any feature comes up, now you know which all parts will be impacted with that code, so you are now more confident about your code. Then now, at early stages, whenever we start any application, what happens is you are having something which is like you know, sometimes we are like I am just a single developer, like as I already said. So you won't be needing some architecture around it, right? You will be like, I know the decisions I have, I may have some rough architecture, or maybe I can adjust with the code. But as your code grows, you never make an application just for few days. As your code grows, you need that to be in a proper structure. Maybe you, after some times, you will be increasing your team or something like that. So you just need to know when that architecture is important and essential both for you. You may learn at later stages. Maybe whenever we start any idea, at that time we just want to deliver, we just want to see the impact, and then we can bring on the improvements, then we can do a refactoring. But yes, that shouldn't be more late. I can understand the first few days, first even month, but after that I think someone should be there who will be doing all these refactoring, and otherwise it will become difficult for you to refactor all the code. As even in the apps which are larger in size, they are very difficult to refactor. We are just doing like the new feature comes up and we apply all the new stuff there. But yes, for legacy code, sometimes it becomes very difficult as we don't get time for that. So yeah, these are some few points around it. And we always do some any architecturing, just because now you know that if you are having a proper architecture around something, you that will be easy to build and maintain. So you just keep that in mind. Then how should we plan, process, and execute any any software building? For that, always keep in mind, as if I talk about Android, I know it's quite hard to test on each and every device. Even with emulator, I have faced many problems, because you won't be getting a real situation. You won't have a low RAM device, or maybe some of you won't have the you won't, maybe there are not lot of many apps around it, or maybe the CPU or the GPU thing. So what happens is, we are not able to test in most of maybe in the latest devices, or not in all the devices. But what we should do is we should try to cover those devices, or maybe I can say the API levels itself. Sometimes whenever we implement something for a higher API level, that breaks in the lower ones. Like sometimes I have faced this, that a thing comes up in Android maybe 24 or 25, and I just built it. And after some time, when it goes to QA for testing, and they test it on Android 5 or 6, they are like, the app is not working. And even that happened with us with retrofit. So retrofit works now with, I think, Android Lollipop, and we were also using the we were also using Android 4. And at that time we faced this, and we now we have different apps for KitKat and this lollipop and higher. So these kind of stuff can be there. So you should keep this in mind, that you have to test for the API levels, as well as most of the devices which you can cover, or which you see that these are the most used devices, and you can get that data from your analytics. You can use Firebase Analytics, and you can see how many users are on which device, and you ensure that these devices should be covered whenever you are testing any application. So yeah, that should be covered. Then yes, we often do this mistake that we want our app with all the features. Whenever you start any idea, just keep minimal features, just have only those basic needs which can be fulfilled, see the impact, and then focus on how you can improve it. And after doing that, then have or add any advanced things around it, or any stuff with which you want to play, like most of the animations, or these kind of stuff even. So after that, add any other feature, just keep it minimal as much as you can. Then the ProGuard rules. I don't know if you are right now who is listening, if you are a fresher or a professional, but you must have heard this ProGuard rules term. So what ProGuard does is it helps in your reverse. It prevents the application for reverse engineering. It makes kind of app secure, and helps in optimizing the your application size. So it helps in all these kind of stuff. You may read about the ProGuard more, and it does more than just the name itself. And even and if we are using it in a better way, I would say many applications have reduced their size to just 70% itself. And also, if I talk about the security, I know it's a tough one with Android, but yes, it helps you in doing that. It helps you making your classes and the code secure just by making it in some other codes, or I can say. So yeah, you can just read about it, and just try to add it in a way like you are not doing it like you are just keeping. If you want to have some code, like maybe what ProGuard does is exactly it checks all the code which are usable or reachable. And maybe some of the code, like you must be using some of the code which is getting used by reflection, and that won't be reachable at the time with when the code is getting analyzed through ProGuard. So you can just keep all those classes which you want, that it shouldn't be it should be there, otherwise your app will crash, right? So what you will do is you have to keep all those classes, but always remember that you should keep all those classes only, not all the packages, right? Otherwise your APK size will be the same. So you have to consider all those cases, and just use it with proper understanding. Then we have the production and pre-production environments. So whenever you are building any application, never ever do the backend stuff just on one server, as like maybe your application is already there in the market, right? And people are already using it, and you just did some stuff on production, that means which is live with the users. Now whenever and that is not that is broken something in your application, and maybe users, the app starts crashing. And maybe you have seen some of the applications doing the same stuff, or I can say like the notifications itself, right? And in the notifications, what happens is, whenever you must have seen sometimes the Paytm notification just by mistake, like the test notifications, right? So you must segregate those production and pre-production environment. Pre-production is whenever you are building any application, you must consider all those cases. You must consider that while building, you will be having a structure like, let me give you my example. So we have a config builder class in which we are segregating all those classes or the URLs based on is it my prod config, or is it my dev config? Dev is the pre-prod one, right? And like this, we have this implementation The prod config will have the prod URLs, and the same way we have a dev config which will have all the URLs for this staging. That means the pre-prod environment. So you can segregate all those stuff based on this, and you can just develop freely. You can do any kind of changes on your pre-production environment, and you can just build the stuff. Then now, yeah, what happens is whenever you are declaring any permission, as you must know, there are some dangerous permission, and Google may what you may if some of you may have heard that this application is suspended, or they have made this application down from the Google Play Store. So what happens is one of those reasons is you have some kind of permissions which Google doesn't allow, or you may have given some permission, but you haven't described it. Why are you using it? Or sometimes what happens is there's one case which happened with us. So with our application, so we were using this camera, this call receive SMS thing, right? And with receive SMS, our application wasn't working with one of the tablet devices, and we just checked everything. Our normal application was running fine, which was unsigned application, and which the one which was on Play Store, I wasn't getting the option actually. So what Google Play does is whenever you declare some of the permissions, so those permissions internally have some hardware features to be there. Like if I talk about the Bluetooth permission, and if some device doesn't hold Bluetooth permission, you will be having this uses feature. That means that feature should be there. And Google just filters out all those applications which doesn't have those features in the devices. Like if you have the app, the mobile devices, the tablet devices. So in that tablet, the call contacts features was not there, and in receive with receive SMS, or there was some other permission as well. So with that internally, Google has something like, if this feature, this action call, I don't remember the exact name, but if that is not there, you won't see the application in the Google Play Store. So you have to consider all those cases, all those permissions, and all the features all those permissions require. Like the camera permission, camera permission requires a camera hardware to be there, right? Like this, every time you should consider all those cases. Then we have the key store. So whenever you are uploading any application on the Play Store itself, so you must this key store is very important. If you ever lost it, you may not have to access to again upload the application with the same. The application ID in the key store is a must requirement, and just secure it at a very secure place. And otherwise what will happen is the key store always requires a alias and a password, so keep that secure as well. You may keep it in even don't upload it on the git itself, if any server system you are using. Just keep it at a very secure place, and use it only, and never lose it. Any application is identified with some of the things, so you should always have those things with you only. Otherwise someone can also misuse it. Then unit tests, yeah. So I would say not just the business logic, people write the UI tests as well, but as with Android documentation, if I go, I can say the functional test, one should cover the functional test itself. You should have tested this business logic. Otherwise, if I talk about something like my payment was going on and I haven't covered one case, or I haven't handled one scenario, and at that time maybe your application crashes, or maybe some case was there and I haven't handled it, and that progress just stopped, and now user can't see anything, right? And that can be a disaster. Even if I being a user for any application, that is a disaster for me, and you will be questioned for all those stuff. Why did this happen? Even your PMs, your founders of the company, everyone will be like after you, that how did this happen? So you should always be confident about the business logic you are writing, because maybe if at some time your UI is broken, that can be something that, yeah, I can adjust with. But if the business logic is broken, then there is some mess and you have to cover that. Unit test, I can talk about many more things, but yeah. So there's an example. I follow Raghunath, and he has said something like, why whenever you order some food, right, from any Zomato or Swiggy, so they are offering you a membership, right? So and the reason is you don't have to pay a recurring delivery charges every time, right? Same goes with writing and not writing test. That means if if you're already confident about the code you have written, and here the delivery charges or the extra cost is your users. Whenever your users see any crashes happening in your application, they won't be downloading the application again, right? The same way, if we the same way as we did with the delivery charges. So every time you have to consider this case, that if you have already covered all those cases and handled all those stuff, and you have tested. Now if a machine is testing something, you will always be confident. But like if we have QAs in the company, right, they are also a human being, and human being can do mistakes and they can just miss some of the test cases, right? So you must be so there should be some machine driven or automated thing. That's why unit tests are important for you. And you can just I had given a talk earlier for unit testing, as how one can start, how can you do that, and what all frameworks and tools are available to do that. There's a source code available, which where you can see how I have written tests, and a blog when I started writing unit tests. So I encountered some problems around it. So you can just go through the problems there. If you face, never see it before you are facing it. Just research for it, and if you are not able to find a solution, then you can just visit the blog. Then comes the error handling. So with error handling, as the name suggests, I was building an application. Even if the crash happened, or even my just progress, there was something happening, and I I didn't show any message to my user like the payment failed. Why did the payment fail? If the user don't know this kind of stuff, how would they proceed for the future things, right? So you should handle the error with proper care and elegantly. As like if I see some of the things, like I don't know, even we get some server messages, right? The error messages, we can't show some of them those messages to the user, like this forbidden, this 40403 or 4401 unauthorized, right? If these kind of stuff comes up, user won't understand what is happening around here. And many of the people are not aware of the tech things, right? So you should give some a meaningful message, like I'm just giving something went wrong, please try again later. User is not getting the context why is what is happening, and what should he do, what can be done here, right? So here if like, and this is something which is good if I have a login screen and maybe my username, password, or token failed. So I am clearly showing him that, yeah, something is failed, and this is the required thing which you need to correct, right? So these kind of meaningful message should be there. For the general things, like I can say, for the general things, you can have the messages like the something went wrong. Sometimes what happens is we are using third party libraries, third party SDKs, and you don't know what exactly they will throw, or at some points maybe you have to handle the error cases, but they are not throwing those specific errors. So even for that cases, you should show a message. At least user should get to know something has happened, so I can try again later, right? Then yeah, show the messages elegantly. So what happens is, like here I showed the invalid token, and user has to enter the details in again. So many times what happens is you get a you get unauthorized from the application. Maybe some applications if you get authorized from another application, they just log out from another device, right? And now you are showing some alert, a dialogue to them. You should show some button so that they can move somewhere. Otherwise, or you can show toast, you can show snack bars, but you should know when to show what thing. Like if you need some action to be done, you should show the dialogues, and you should redirect the user to that screen. Otherwise, you can just show them the toast like login successfully, or these kind of stuff, right? So you should know how you want to show the error, and what exactly user need to do after that. Now the mistakes, and as I can say, you will be learning from the mistakes every time. Even I have completed 5 years of developing in this development phase, but I would say I am learning each and every day from that, because many times many perspectives are there, many users are there, many things we miss, and this will continue. But some of the mistakes which I want to enlighten here is: test thoroughly. We have already discussed it with the variety of devices and the API levels, the unit tests. This people don't consider it with the as a higher priority. And after a time, like what happens is, so when I started, I created an application, and that was working fine with my device, like that with I think Android 6 or 7. Then my with my friend, that wasn't working, because something came after Android 6 only, which I was using, and that was a mess, right? That these kind of stuff shouldn't happen, and you should know why was this application failing, and you should take proper care from after that. What I did was, I handled the care with the API levels, and I used another alternative method, which was there for Android 4 or 5, so I used that. Then we have the beta testing. So we have some phases with us with Google Play Store itself. You have internal testing, beta testing. Internal, we basically mostly use with our company itself, the QAs or the managers or anyone in the company can use it. Even with beta testing, the you can with beta testing, it can be used outside the company and with more people, in layman terms. So what you can do is, with that, you can have a good number of users, you can take more feedback, and if you already have feedback and suggestions in the very early phase, you can just incorporate them. And it happens many times, right? Even what QA does the same thing. They are just testing all the scenarios, and they are talking about they are telling you all the things crashing, or any UI part is breaking, right? The same way, what happens is, maybe QA and we people are tech people, but you should understand any perspective from the user level as well. That user testing is required, so you should provide that application to some part of the users, and try to get as many feedbacks and incorporate them. Then use what is already there. So yeah, never waste your time for the all the libraries which are with good repo, which are updated and with less number of issues, or like retrofit or any image loading library. If you're using Light, Picasso, or Coil, any kind of these libraries are already there. So don't waste time on building your own stuff, which is the thing which is already there, and that is already been tested, right? They are already having their own test cases for that, and after that they are publishing anything, right? So don't waste time there and use that stuff. I have seen this kind of case many times in many applications. So what happens is, um, you are not handling the no internet cases. So sometimes with some of the applications, what can work is, you can have some local database, and you can just show some of the things that keeps your user engaged. Otherwise, what happens is, whenever maybe in low internet cases, user will come up and the things are not loading, right? but you can keep them engaged with like in our applications we have some articles, so we can show them so that they our app engagement is always there, and user won't be uninstalling, or maybe we are keeping more engagement in our application, and you can consider all other cases as well. So always handle the no internet cases with maybe the whenever you get any app internet, the swiping refresh layouts you can add. You can have the progress bars, just getting the network listeners there, adding the network listeners, or you can show some buttons and you can just try the internet again, or for no internet cases you can show them a beautiful message, or I love Zomato. So many times I have seen their messages are like I smile whenever see their messages. So you can make your users more interactive like that. Then for your splash screen. So for our splash screen, what happens is basically we keep our logo and the app name mostly there, right? But many times I have seen many applications just making it delightful, just to make it delightful. They add some animations around it, or uh, so, maybe they are making the timings more, right? At that time, if you are a user who are using that app frequently, after a time you will be like irritated with those kind of stuff, right? You don't need to be just stay away on the splash screen for some of the seconds. Maybe you have to check some of the things, and splash screen is taking them just 3 4 5 seconds. If you aren't doing any kind of background thing, even I should say you shouldn't do these kind of stuff, but many times your configuration of the application depends on some your home screen depends on some configuration, and splash screen is the only screen where you can fetch all those details. So maybe at that time you can have a small API call there, which is taking less time, and then you can do that, but keep it with minimal overhead. If you are not having any kind of stuff, just keep your splash screen with a theme. Even don't add any layout thing. If you are adding a layout, so what happens is so you can read about this how to design a splash screen for Android. Never take any layout for the script splash. Put a normal image, or you can have a background or just an icon and the name of the application, and use it from the theme itself. You can see how to use themes with splash screens, and you will get the benefit. Otherwise, whenever I open the application, you may have seen sometimes a blank white screen and then your layout loads. The reason is your theme always loads faster than your layouts, right? And even for splash, and why do you need that? Whenever you launch an application, you just need everything to be as fast as they can. So put those things in the themes itself, right? Then the rollout feature, I don't know if many of you know about it. So what happens with Play Store is you can pose any rollout. Let's say I have updated my application with some features, right? My version is earlier I had this 1.1.0, and now my version is 1.2.0, right? For that 1.2.0, I want to see behavior. I want to see if that app works fine with people. Maybe I want to see some analytics, or I want to see if the crash is not coming, or there are no major crashes out there other than this Android framework crashes. So what I would do is I can do 10%, 20% rollout. That means you are, from all the user bases right now you are having 10% of users on the Play Store that would be able to see the latest application update. If I am having 1.2.0, then those 10% of the users would be able to see the latest application, whether they can update or whether they can install it as a fresh application. So you can do that, and with that you can analyze the behavior of the application, and with that you can increase the rollout. What we do for our application is we roll out for 1%. If we are doing that on Friday, then we do that 5%. If everything goes fine, then we do for 20%, and then we go for 100% if everything is fine. Otherwise, we can halt the release. And halting the release, you can also hold the release. That means if on Google Play you have halt, that means it won't be now, users won't see the latest update, and or you won't be increasing that. But you can do that halt, you can post that release update only before 99%. If you have already done the 100%, you can't hold it. Then it will be all the users will be able to see your application update, so you can take a benefit from this rollout feature. Then patch. So we have these major, minor, and patch releases. What As I told you, this 1.1.0, this 1.2.0. So this 1.1.0, this has a significance. So this last zero is for the patch, that means minor bug fixes. The middle one, this one, is for any future. You have just added some new features in your application, and these are just small features in your application. So these are for minor updates. And the first one, which is your 1.1.0, the beginning one, that is for major releases. Like maybe you have changed the branding of your application completely. Like you had some red theme, then you have a blue theme for your application. So that is kind of major change. Or maybe you have changed your application icon, or maybe there are some major changes from your backend itself. So these are some major changes. So every time you release any application, you have to keep this number in your mind, that if you are doing it as a major release, that then the first number would be increasing. Otherwise, the middle number, if these are some features. And if you are doing some patch, then that means the minor bug fixes only. So the patch means that. And every time you are getting some as with this rollout feature, this patch comes up. Patch means just you are releasing some fixes, and every time you get that, just release the new application, hold the previous one, and release the new one. Yeah. So whenever we start any idea, so we are like, we will be building for web, we will be building for Android, iOS, every platform. Never do that. Analyze the behavior from I would say, as if you have Android users more, analyze the behavior, what exactly a user wants, what features exactly a user wants, or even if whether they even want it or not. Decide it with those parameters, and then develop for all other platforms like the web, mobile web, or iOS. After that, you should be developing that. Never start them parallelly. This is my personal opinion, and many more. Yes, because whenever you will start doing it, many of you must be doing it, they would be having many other things around there, and everyone has different experiences around it. So you'll be getting it only after you have tried something, you are building it on a scale, you are building it for a large number of users. So you'll be getting those kind of experiences, and just do mistakes, right? Now we have teamwork and balance. So as I said, we always need a team. We always be having a team, right? Maybe you start with your friend, or maybe you just started with a single handedly you are handling the application. But after a time, you will be increasing as you will be having more user base. Now you need marketing people, you need a proper QA team who will be testing the application, because now you are having a large user base. You'll be having more developers, as now you need more features, and that should be there in the market as soon as they can. So you'll be needing more people, right? Now there is a team, but to balance a team is something which is which softwares, as many people are there, there's some chaos. You have to handle it with proper you should see it as a single entity. Never try to have this I am doing something, and another you should value other person's work as well. Like some of the things are you should know what your other team members are doing. right? Maybe I am going for a vacations, and I was doing some work, but now there's some change needed in that, and some other person have to do that. And if they don't even know the feature I was developing, or maybe something happened to me, or I'm not well, but this needs to be done on priority. If you don't know others work, then that can be something difficult to understand their code just by code. And also respect other members work. You never be demoralizing or demeaning them for any kind of thing. If you are doing some everyone has a different perspective, everyone has different experiences and learning with their age. So you have to even maybe sometimes can happen is maybe the persons who are younger than you give you more good advices, and you should be able to take that. It shouldn't be like if you are experienced, or if you have more experience than them, then why should I do that? I should have I'm the only one who can decide the things. That shouldn't happen, right? Then avoid criticism. So what happens is, whenever you are doing a peer review, I am giving just a simple example. So whenever we do a peer review, never ever use this word, this you are wrong. Every time you want to bring a change, or you want to suggest something, or you want, you know that someone is doing something wrong, or I won't say wrong, they may be doing it with their own perspective. Understand their perspective, talk to them, why have they done it. Then clear your point. Or maybe you may have done this thing earlier, and now you want to you then now you want to share your learnings with them, so that they won't be doing the same mistake. So make them understand, and then do the things. Communicate every day and every way. So many of us have scrums, and scrums are meant for just having a conversation for what we are doing. Many times what happens is we are stuck in some major problem, and we are not able to continue, right? And if you discuss with someone, as I said in the previous one, maybe they have faced the same thing, or even in a discussion you will get a conclusion, or maybe you have a different alternatives to solve a problem. Now what approach should you follow? That deciding thing, in that deciding thing, a team can help you in with a proper guidance, and what exactly how should you approach for any engineering problem. So you should communicate, and that communication is required. Avoid conflicts. As with criticism, the same happens with conflicts. Never whenever another one whenever you are, maybe you are doing some very good work, and uh, you are like, I am doing many things, but that person is just doing the features, or maybe this is your passion, but that person is here just to earn money. So never ever try to demean them. It always they are doing their work, right? They don't want to do extra things. They are maybe they have some more experience now, they don't want to do any kind of engineering, or maybe that can happen. Just understand their perspective, and never have a negative environment in the in your team. Otherwise you won't be able to discuss the things properly. One time if any conflict happen, another time it is very difficult to have the things with that positivity again. So try to avoid that. Just do your work, just do your part, I would say. Creativity and innovations. Every time any of your employee or any of your team member comes up with any solution, or many times what happens is many managers ask us to do any animation, like, or any kind of stuff, and we are like, we already tried it, this isn't working, or we won't be doing this. These shouldn't be your lines. Never ever do that. We are engineers, we are meant to innovate, or we are meant to try different approaches for any problem. So always try, then come up with some data or some graph, and then say that this can't work, and now you can try for other things. But you should have a creative mind, you should have a positive approach, that yeah, we can do this, we can just try another solution. Or even if any younger one is bringing up some solution, ask her to try it out and then come up with a proper approach. So you should be handling it like this way. Show gratitude every time. If someone is helping you out there, you must be thankful for him. He has given you some time of their life, and they are helping you in solving those problems with their learnings or experiences. Even if someone is reviewing your PR with very carefully, they are helping you in preventing to do those mistakes again and again. You should have a gratitude for them. So think it like that way, and I would say you will have a different perspective how a team works. Now, some of the best practices, as for app size, whenever you download any application, so many times what happens is the ones with less memory with them, they are like, I can't download this application. For games, it can be an exception for a hardware thing. Another example. But for the applications in which we can manage it, normal application, we are those are just browsing, or like the e-commerce application, they don't require the size to be much large, right? And you can handle those sizes. And even now you have app bundles. Try to learn app bundles and try to keep your app size as small as you can, because whenever user, even Google SEO is something, how Google value, how Google give your app priority. It's all about the crash rates. It's all about these app sizes, the ads. Many parameters are there, but I am just giving you some of those, and this also comes up there. And also, whenever you are having any application, try to analyze the crash rates, the ANR rates. ANR is application not responding. You must have seen the application not responding in your application. Many times out of memory happens because of many images. I'm just giving an example, like many images you are having in a screen, you are just scrolling down, and you haven't recycled all the stuff, and these are just getting kept in memory. Or so these kind of stuff can fill your memory, and you won't be able to use any other thing in your application, and the application just start not responding. So these kind of stuff should be handled, as these make your app these affect your app priority, these app affect your app SEO, and how would your app appear on the Play Store. Then keep committing code every time for any bug, any new feature. Keep your PR as small as you can. It's not like if I'm talking about a feature thing, or you can just break. If you can break that feature, it would be easy to understand. It would be easy to be understandable by the one who is reviewing it. He or she knows that only this part needs to be. This is covered in this PR, and you can have the child branches. You can if the code is dependent on a base branch before that gets merged to your main branch. Or also every time just have a specific PR for a for a one thing. Like maybe you have two bugs coming came up there. Now you may merge all those in one PR, and you are doing that. After a time, maybe you have to check your PRs for you have to check your code, your commits for the things you have done, or for the bug. Maybe this bug is because of this you have introduced something else, and any other bug. How can you check that? You can check only that if you have a proper you can remember it in a specific way, right? So for every specific bug, have a different PR. For every feature, if you can break it, if it is large, then break it in smaller PRs and ask the people to review it. It's easy in on both sides, for you and for the other, as dependency will be less and it will be easy to understand. And then yes, never try to include everything because it's in trend, and even we do that. And with many legacy apps, or many applications which are with larger code user code base, they don't just add everything. Now they are having a large user base out there. They should have a proper They should know why one should use it, why do they need it. Otherwise, if they are using something and that is working fine with them, they won't try a new thing. But yes, we should try, we should have a benchmark, we should know what exactly the things coming up. Even if I talk about the jetpack components, libraries, if they are coming up, what exactly are they solving? And if let's say I go to my manager and I say I want to include this jetpack compose in my application, and he will be like, our application is running fine with the xmls, why do you need that? Then you must have some data to show to him. You must have a proper reason to include that. Only then you should include it. And even if I talk about any architecture, I would say no architecture is bad till the time uh, it is following the architecture should be there, right? Every architecture has their own pros and cons. And people say that they are if I talk about the architecture, they tell me that unit tests are very easy to implement. And many times this has happened with me while taking interviews, and I am like, do you know what unit tests are? And they are like, they don't have any clue about unit tests, right? So that shouldn't be your reason to answer something. You should know why one should have an architecture. This way you should know anything you are adding in your code. Use third party libraries wisely. Yes, you should know what all issues are there for those libraries, uh, if that library is maintainable or not, or if with how many stars those libraries have. And if you just need one or two classes from that third party library, I would say just add those classes. Don't add the whole library for that. It would increase your application size. And why do you need that if you don't need to use other features? Then handle the configuration changes. So many times we have this we make the application we are not handling the screen orientation, and we just rotate our screens and the application start crashing because something was getting done in this asynchronously, or something like we had this async task earlier, now they are deprecated. But you should handle the configuration changes like these, the keyboard or anything. So you should know. And even if I talk about this the themes itself, the night or day themes, if you're handling those, your colors should be handled. As now every device has these day and night themes with them. And your application, if you are have your application has this feature for night theme, you should handle that. You should handle the colors very carefully. Those should be visible in the dark mode. Then keep buffer for ad hoc tasks. Now always have a buffer for the unplanned tasks. If you are working in a company, in an organization, or even many times what happens is we have a deadline, we have a sprints, and we are saying that this is the time we have given for the task to complete. And if some unplanned task comes up, I won't be able to do that, right? And manager is like, just one more thing, I just need a one I just have one task, and that is on priority. And they are always have just one reason, that this has come from upper authorities and you have to do that. And now you can't say no for that, right? But make sure every time, if you have some ad hoc tasks, and you should consider the time, consider it with, if it is all the work visible in that time or not. Then always your leaders, your whole team should be on the same page. Always redirect from your leaders, never take it directly from any marketing people or any manager. Take it from your leaders itself, as they will be, as now they are answerable for all the things happening in your application. Even if your application deadline is getting extended, they are answerable, right? So you should redirect all the things from your leaders. Then now all the ad hoc tasks are not important. It's like people say maybe marketing team has given you some task, and that can be done in another release, right? Just get to know the impact and weightage for that, and then start accordingly. After a time, you should retrospect that if you haven't gone, everyone in the team should retrospect that, why didn't they have the buffer. They can they have a buffer for any unplanned task, or why did this marketing people didn't tell you this thing in the very first place, or even if this is a ad hoc, these should be in the backlogs itself. It shouldn't be coming in on the fly, that you even the marketing people didn't know that this would be coming. There should be a backlog for it. You should retrospect every what exactly you have done for this release, and how can you improve from that, and then you can manage within the team that maybe that person can handle the ad hoc task whenever coming up. So these kind of stuff can be done, but that can be done if you retrospect all the things which you have done in that release, and how where you can improve. So yeah. Then, as we talked about the unit tests, automate the things, as that would save time for you. Or building, as Android build processes, like we know that every time we build something, so maybe you can have automation. It's not like that. It is kind of, some way related to the unit test itself. Maybe some unit tests are running, and you then you can have your application itself automated to QA. That process will be automated. That would save a lot of time for you. So try to implement unit tests and CI/CD. And yeah, uh, as you know, Android applications are not as secure as everything. Things are not impossible. They are just, you can just make the decisions, or the things difficult for to crack or hack. So make the security decisions mostly on server side, because backend is somewhere secured more than this application. Even if you have kind of tokens or something like that, you you have auth token for all the things, right? Whenever you do login, or after all the after all this, you will be having some calls which requires auth token, right? But that, even that auth token, is something, a hash, that is not understandable for other people. Or but some of the things are there, like maybe you are using Google's APIs, or are there. And like if I talk about the safety net, so they are just a more secure way, so that people can't crack your application on rooted devices that your app won't run, like these kind of stuff. So in that, the Google backend verification, the Google backend API verification, whenever you hit the safety backend, that if my application is secure on this device or not, so you should be hitting your you should be hitting your servers for that, and your servers should be communicating with your with the Google backend. You shouldn't be directly communicating with your backend, because maybe what hacker can do is, they can manipulate the code, they can return you true, and they can just use the application the same way they were using it earlier, right? So make the security decisions on server side if possible. And also, as just writing the code is not enough, as we have seen, anyone can be coder, but writing in an efficient way is the real challenge, and just do mistakes and learn from them. But that initial phase, that beginning is required. So yeah. And so yeah, thank you. You can reach me anywhere. Just you can tell me if you have any feedback or suggestions for me, and I try to reply people there, everyone even. And yeah, thank you for listening me for a long time. As I was told that I have to cover all these things that people want to know, all stuff. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Niharika, for an exciting event. So it was pretty nice, and thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Atri.
Thank you. Yeah.
So,
So have a good day.
people,
So
so have anyone has any question or? Atri, should I move to?
mm, Yeah, so there
How,
are no many questions right now. So
okay.
there are some questions, but they are answered in the comment section. People are really
Okay.
informative. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you still have any question, you can reach out on
Yeah. Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah, you can just reach out to. I think Deepak Bari has some questions. Uh, yeah, yeah, Deepak, you can ask. So yeah, Nishant told that yeah, jetpack. Yeah, jetpack is just nothing. Jetpack is you have the libraries we are getting now is just more fast and they are more focusing and they are making it more optimized for us. So yeah, any suggestions for beginner like me who is interested in making app? Okay, so I would say have a good idea first. Have a just try to don't try to learn everything. Try to have try to learn the things whenever you get any problem around it. Never try just to learn those things. Never try to involve in your application that will make your code confused for even you. You can start with the caution as it's now recommended, and then for have a good architecture. Firstly, have an idea for which you will be developing. Then what you can do is you can just for that problem you can have some you can approach the libraries. You can use the other libraries around it. Like I recently made a movie tray application. I wanted to use all those jetpack components or libraries coming up all together. So I had this two APIs. I made API calls and I had to use database because I wanted a local storage. So I had a proper problem in my mind, and then I approached what all things needs to be used, right? So this way I learned the things coming in my way, and anyone can learn like that. How to exclude groups of features from external library. So I think there's already a exclude command as even you told me the exclude. So there's you can give the package. Then I think the specific package. I don't remember the exact uh, what exact syntax is, but yes, you can use that. How do you manage layout XML files? So right now we don't have any orientation thing, or we don't have any density wise. We haven't taken that. We have just one portrait screens for us. But what you can do is if you have many if you have some of the features like in layout v21 or layout lower than that or like that. So what you can do is you can have some of the configuration common configuration in styles.xml. Then you can use styles so that if you are changing something in one layout, then maybe it will be like you may forget to change in another one, right? So try to manage all those stuff with the styles.xml. You can have styles like if you're using text views or if you're using buttons, you can have a common styles for those. I hope I have answered your question, Deepak.
Yeah. There are no many questions, as I can see.
Okay, okay. Sure, and thank you, Atri, for asking me for to do this.
It's our
And
pleasure to have you. Nothing
yeah,
more.
even I learned a lot when I was having making the slides itself. Because what happens is many times we know the things, but we don't know how to place them all in at one place. And even I can talk about it. If I have much time. But yes, I do I do know people will get bored around it. But even if someone wants to know more about these stuff, they can reach out to me. I've tried to explain the things which are important as I knew that I had to cover the freshers, the newcomers, as well as the some of the people from you are already developing applications or already are a software engineer. So yeah,
Okay, so we are call it a day today. So thanks everyone for joining our event. So
thank you everyone.
okay, bye bye. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye.